April, the month of birthday presents, Easter eggs, and apparently April showers.
What board games do we play in April? Hi everyone, I'm Libby, this is Julian, and together we are BoxedMeeples, and it's that time of the month again, so we're doing our rundown of what new and notable games to us that we've managed to play last month, which was April.
Mm-hmm.
Your birthday month.
It was, yes. And we've already seen the game we got to play to celebrate my birthday, which was Lost Valley of the Dinosaurs. That was a game almost as old as I am, which we played. I got it last year for my birthday and we played it. So do have a watch of that video if you haven't already seen it.
It was interesting.
It was.
Yeah, I would say it was better than I was imagining it was going to be. And there's kind of, I don't know, there's enough there that you kind of think if you were to remodernise this and change a few things up, I could see a great game coming out of it. And I could definitely still see young kids that are into dinosaurs still enjoying that game now. They might want some more modern looking
shows its
dinosaurs.
age. Yeah.
I mean, they're scaly in a way they're not meant to be scaly, those figures. But
it was a nice experiment, and like I said, have a watch the video. But what other games have we played? What proper games have we played?
Let's go to BG Stats as usual. It has been an interesting month, I will say. Obviously, yes, you had your birthday, so things like that. But I have been somewhat out of action for a lot of the month with surgery, so still finding it difficult to sit at a table, which has obviously made gaming very awkward. So many of our plays this month have been sat next to each other on a sofa on PGA.
Yes.
Me on my phone, you on a laptop, or passing over the tablet and sort of being able to play in that way. So it hasn't been a normal game for a month for gaming at all for us.
No.
So
and we haven't been able to go to our regular board game club, which has limited us to our extensive collection, rather than being able to play other games that people have brought along.
I mean, how dare we have to play from our own
shelves? No, we have to
shelves.
play in our own games. Oof.
But I mean, we did have one that nearly made one of our game of the months, Boop, on BGA.
Mensa approved now, Boop. Apparently for thoughtful, clever people.
Julian obsessed now, Boop.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, Boop on paper should be a game I despise. Mm-hmm. I've never really got on with those chess-like games, 2-player duel games, but there's something about this, and I don't think it's just because it's cats in a bed.
I mean, I think it has something to do with the kitten and cat meeples.
Well, we haven't actually physically ever played this. We've played it on Board Game Arena a lot. I think I'm up to sort of 20 plays of it.
Yeah, I'm not that far up, but Julian's obsessed.
And it's basically it's a 2-player game where you're placing cats on a bed, and if you place a cat, the adjacent cats will move because they've been booped. If you place a kitten, it won't move.
Booped.
Boop. If you place a kitten, it won't move a cat. And if you get 3 cats in a row, you've won.
Yes.
So the secret of it...
Or I think... Can you also win if you get all 8 of your cats on the board?
If you place all cats on the boards... Well, if you place all your kittens on the board...
You
can promote one to a cat.
Yes.
And it's... Yeah, it's all about thinking about or trying to lure your opponent into doing what you are going to do on your turn. It's all about getting in a position so you can get those 3 cats in a row by your opponent making an error, by not seeing your
or sometimes you can get them in a position where they can sort of fight one fire, but there's still the other opportunity. You've got yourself a position where there's 2 ways for you to win, and they can only do something about one of them, and that's a joyous moment be in.
I've played a game which has gone on for about an hour with a friend, and we were like dueling chess masters, sitting there toying with each other, placing down a cat, knowing that that's going to block off them. It's not advantageous to me, but it stops them. And when do you swoop in and make that move? And it was like watching the Queen's Gambit, only with cats and a bouncing bed.
Anyone who plays chess actually properly, apologies.
I want to get those little timers now for it. Sit in a darkened room. When we get the physical copy, that's what I'm going to be doing.
Yeah,
taking it far too seriously. But I really enjoyed it.
Fun.
I really enjoyed it.
It's fun. And I'm super surprised that you like it.
I shouldn't. There's similar games in the past I've really not liked at all. But yeah, there's something about this one.
We played Disney Vilianous again.
We did.
But I say again, but you had the last section that we needed to complete everything that's currently available for the Disney Vilianous. And so we played some new characters. So it's kind of new, kind of notable. Yeah.
Yeah. We had a friend come over, and then towards the end we said, have a look on our shelves, pick a game you want to play. We had about an hour. And it's not often we play Vilianous 3-player.
No, it's normally just the two of us.
And
but
with that, you get the extra rule about you can't fate someone twice, which then gets a little bit more tactical because then you're almost not wanting to fate someone if you've got the kind of fate-resistant token, because then it means you can't be fated. But it was a...
And I think, because I won.
You did.
But I think partly to do the management of that fate token didn't let it go through to another round so that you could maybe have had the chance of stopping me winning.
Yes.
Which was interesting. Yeah.
And you do have to kind of keep an eye on, obviously, two more opponents and working out what they're doing. And as with Vilianous, it's always a case of not only keeping an eye on what your character's doing, but also being aware of what the opponents are doing, and that does require you needing to know all the characters. So that's why it's kind of interesting to play with 3 new characters. Yeah. Because then you haven't played with them yourself. It's like, oh, okay, I don't quite know what you're trying to do there.
Yeah, there was many a time when you were saying, so where are you? How far away do you think you are?
Nearly there. But I always enjoy Vilianous, and it's one of those games where you play it and it's like, well, we should play this more.
Yeah.
Because it can be quite quick. We have had kind of epic games that have lasted a lot longer, but generally it's quite a quick game to play.
Yeah, and interestingly was one of the few physical games we were able to play, because we have a sort of a gaming tray, a sort of a repurposed frame that we've put in a gaming mat that we have anyway, and so being able to have that on a nice armchair, comfy, and play on that rather than at a table meant that was one of the few games that we could actually play
it's accessible,
physically, which was good. We also played, and this was digitally, although I know that we have got some maps, and I know you can play the thing, Macro Crime City.
Yeah, if anyone doesn't know, it's kind of like a Where's Wally with murder.
Yeah, it's funny because I don't know, some people might classify it as a board game, some people might classify it more as like an experience, like you would have an unlock or an exit game kind of thing. And I think, we played it too on a tablet, but I think if you had the map out and had a few people over for socially, like that could be quite a fun little thing going on.
And the app wasn't an ideal way of playing it because you don't really see the whole map, so you're limited together of looking in the same areas, whereas I imagine playing it with many people, you could all be all over trying to track things back.
Oh, that one with the hat, he's
gone that way
and he's doing this.
But I do like it, and like so many kind of mystery games, when it clicks, it's always really satisfying, and you have that realisation of, oh, he's taken off his hat.
We've been looking for the wrong person.
There's the abandoned hat there. He's lost his hat, and I think that's great. It's a really fun game, and sadly you can only play the cases once. But I'm now interested in getting more of it.
Yeah, so. I think I'm probably forgetful enough that give me a couple of months and I won't have a clue.
I do think because of these kind of exhaustible games that you can only play them once, maybe this would be the kind of thing we're finding the Bring and Buy this year. And that's something we could keep an eye on.
We could look for, because definitely a fun experience, and something that would be great to bring people into the hobby. I think it's different from everything else, so
it's not imposing. You're not getting dice and cards and things out. You're just laying out a thing and saying someone's been murdered over a hot dog. Let's find out why.
I mean, if you don't mind murder at family get-togethers, then go for it.
Why not?
Yeah. Murder or hot dogs, Of course, we played Root on the app.
We did.
Yeah.
Well, the new expansion's come out, so we've got 2 new factions to play with, and more importantly, it's got the advanced setup.
Yes, which I'm enjoying using.
Yep. So it's been playing with that.
Let us know if you fancy a game.
Always happy to play that.
Yeah. We played Dinner in Paris for the first time in ages.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd almost forgotten how to play, if I'm honest. But again, this was digitally on BGA. Setting out our terraces. It's one that we have here. We should probably get it to the table more often.
It's a nice abstract game, really. It's not so much about choosing which restaurants you build, it's about placing the tiles, really, and trying to
surround a fountain or pick up a pigeon or whatever you're doing.
But that being said, I do love the theme, particularly we could be discussing going to Paris.
Yes.
So that's nice to get in the mood for that. But it's a nice little, slightly thinky game, quite quick to play, and I don't think people talk about it enough.
No, you don't hear too much about it. No, but we enjoyed that one. Yeah. On BGA again. My game of the month we played way back at the beginning of the month was Dune Imperium. We managed to play a very deluxe copy that our friend has with both expansions in, having not played either of the expansions before. So that was a bit of a learning curve, but super fun. And yeah, it just really makes me want to get our copy out again we have the X expansion. I won't be surprised if the Immortality expansion comes into the collection sometime very soon.
Yeah, it's intriguing because we both kind of gravitated, maybe because we haven't got it, I don't know. We both kind of gravitated towards the Immortality part of the...
Yeah, and it was nearer to where we were sitting, so I suppose you could see it a little bit.
I couldn't see over the other side of the board, so I'm not going to bother doing that.
And yeah, I just suppose our gameplay choice that worked with what was syncing up was what was around, lent towards us both happening to do that. I mean, the other two players at the table happened to go more towards the dreadnoughts, interestingly. Right, yeah. So I think it just depends on how things pan out. But really enjoy that game.
Have a watch of the Game of the Month video.
Yeah. And that is one of the games that I had been saying from the beginning of the year that we needed to get to the table. We hadn't really played it last year, and it was an absolute, travesty that we hadn't got it to the table because it's in both of our top games. Just ridiculous. So I'm very pleased that we have dealt with that, and it needs to come back again. We need to get the dreadnoughts out and get really familiar with them.
Yes.
So that would be good. That would be fab. We introduced your girls to Flamecraft, which was interesting. Obviously a game we've talked about before, we have played and love. I mean, anyone that knows me would know that artwork is going to draw me in.
Yes.
Immediately.
They're both around the 10 age, and it worked well for that kind of age group.
Yeah.
It wasn't so complicated that they were kind of overwhelmed by it. Initially it seemed quite imposing, I think, for them when we're trying to explain the rules. But it really is a kind of a point salad style game. No matter where you go, it doesn't really have a bad decision.
No.
Everything either gives you resources or gives you points, both of which are valuable.
For their first game, we did take out their is it the fancy dragons that have the end of rounds extra point things or the immediately point things? We just felt that they were seeming a little bit overwhelmed by everything else.
It was a step too far to say, okay, on this one you need to try and get as many of these as you can, because they had no frame of reference to what that actually meant.
So next game we'll add those in, but we just thought as a little bit of a stepping stone, and instead if it had the symbol to pick up a fancy dragon, we exchanged that and
you can get a dragon and a coin,
or different ones we chose different things for. So that worked well, and I think they're super keen to play it again. So next time they'll have that little step up, which will be good. But it was great for them. We played Kahuna for the first time in ages, which can be cutthroat, and
it's
dominated that game.
It's
towards
brutal.
The end.
Yeah, So in this game, you're basically trying to control islands. And whoever has the most control over it then controls the island, and also that has ripple effects, so then you start controlling other islands and neighbouring it. And it has an interesting kind of point system where it scores at 3 set points in the game. But the end one is when you want to focus on.
Yeah, the first round points are sort of, I can't remember the exact amount, but they're so much, and then you get more for the second round, and then you get more again for the third round. So if you manage to hold on to the second round, I think it's easier to then stay in charge for the third round, and then you've guaranteed to win. Which I was
at the point where I hadn't drawn enough cards to be able to make any dent on the game, and there is an element of random chance to the game that you just have to accept.
Picking the right island, to be able to remove the bridges. But it can be fun/cruel when you manage to remove a bridge, which gives you control, which takes off control of something, which then means that you then lose control of something else because you're then taking off something else, and it just cascades through into this sort of reign of terror for the winner.
I think some of the joy of that is lost in the digital kind of interpretation on BGA.
Yeah.
In person, that's a lot more fun going, and that's mine, and now that is mine, and that's mine too. But I do like it. It's a good 2-player game, and the whole kind of that range of those kind of 2-player games are all generally quite good. So.
Yeah. So we enjoyed that. Lords of Waterdeep we played for the first time in forever.
No, the reason we played this is because recently we did a video about games that replaced other games. Mm-hmm. And we said about we played Lords of Waterdeep probably 50 times, I imagine.
Yeah, I mean, we played it quite a lot in person, but during lockdown it was one of the apps that we both had, and we were able to then, play...
We played it simultaneously.
Remotely, and maybe be on the phone or whatever at the same time, and then, chuckle through... I'm releasing the owlbears mission, or whatever it is that you're doing.
But it was... and we kind of feel like we've moved on from it, because we have a bit more, we're both able to play more complicated worker placement games, and as a result, we would always choose Yada over Lords of Waterdeep, particularly as we don't have the Skull Deep expansion. If we had that, it would be a slightly different story, but it is quite expensive for us to get hold of that.
Yes.
So this was kind of a, do we still need this in our collection type play?
Test. Yeah.
And it hasn't solved that.
No, it's got that comfort factor because we've played it so much. It's familiar, it's fun. It's a good one to introduce sort of people that haven't done a lot of worker placements, or that when you get to make a shop and people go to it and you get stuff, and when you're completing your missions, it's got that like quite satisfying feelings when you're achieving stuff in that game. Which is good.
I thought I was going to play it and go, oh, it's a bit light, but I did enjoy playing it. So it hasn't solved whether we're going to be moving this on.
So we'll put on pause that one and see how often it gets to the table. And I think that, as you said, that will happen if we had Skull Deep, but I just don't think that it's worth the amount for the amount that we do table it. But then we would table it more. It's a quandary. It's a quandary.
It didn't solve anything, but it was fun to play. A lot more fun than I thought it was
good. You spoke about the Lost Valley of the Dinosaurs. Yes, that was a fun play.
That was the thing that happened.
Wasn't it? You played Scout for the first time. That was one that you got for your...
Yes, so you got it for my birthday.
Yeah, I spoke about playing it for the first time last month because I played it at Aircon.
Yeah, I didn't quite know what to expect from it. It's great. I can see why lots of people love it.
Interestingly, your girls really liked it as well and have asked to play it again since.
Yeah, so it's, that's fun. It's relatively quick to explain. It's quite easy for people to grasp. This pair of cards is bigger than that pair of cards, so that beats that. I'm playing 3 cards, and that's 2 cards, so I'm beating that. And I do like the interplay between players where you do taking up people's cards, and then you can use it to kind of sculpt your hand a bit more, because obviously you can't move your hand, the cards in your hand. And there was one time we played where I scouted just so I could build up a run of, I think it was 5 cards, and then we were playing at 4-player, then watching everyone have to scout, and if everyone else scouts, you automatically win. And that was great. I really enjoyed that. Yeah. And I'm definitely going to take it with us when we meet up with people, because it's small. It's obviously it's an oink game, so it's teeny tiny.
Yeah, just so easy to chuck in a handbag. Yeah.
So we can take that with us to conventions and just, if you have a spare, while waiting for another table to be free, perhaps, quick game Scout.
Yeah,
it's good.
Perfect.
I can see why people like it so much.
Another small game that we played again on BGA, Spots.
Right, yeah.
There's dogs and there's dice.
I love the description for it. Dice have spots. Dogs have spots. Put the dice spots on the dog spots. There's a bit more than that.
Yeah, no, there's some action cards, and you can do that. You can walk, you can fetch, you can bury, or whatever it is. You're choosing an action card, and then you're rolling the dice and hoping that the number comes up that's also on your dog card, or before you bust.
It's a full-on push your luck. with dice, which is great. And when you play it, the different actions you have are randomised. There's always, I think, a walk is always there, and I think, they gain the extra card. But the first person to complete 6 dogs by placing all the dice on them and then scoring them, you can score them throughout, wins. But if you have buried too many bones, clever, then any placed dice on dogs that haven't been scored reset.
Yeah.
So there is a case of I just need to roll a 1 on 5 dice. What can go wrong with this? Let's roll. Oh no, there's no ones there.
Yeah. And you do get treats which allow you to re-roll,
Yes.
but then you can run out of those.
When you run out of treats.
So yeah,
it's a tough life. It's a dog's life, really.
So it's a quick, easy game. It's one definitely for families. Would be fun.
I'm totally picking up if I see it somewhere.
We'll play it again on BGA, I'm sure, just when you've got 5 minutes to.
When you're not playing Boop.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly.
Those rare moments when you're not playing Boop.
Now we should talk about your favourite game of the month, Stardew Valley.
So have a watch of the video for my pick for this month. As I said in that video, we've had it nearly a year and not played it. What fools we were.
Yeah, it was super fun. Really enjoyed it.
From someone who's come from playing the game a lot, is instantly familiar and comforting and recognisable. But you hadn't played the game.
No. I mean, I knew enough about it to sort of get the general vibe of it. Your daughters play Animal Crossing, and I knew that it was like Animal Crossing Plus kind of thing.
Kind of grown up Animal Crossing.
Yeah. But that was super fun. We all sort of doubled down on our skill. You were super good at mining.
I was all about the mining.
Forager, and our friend, he was good at planting and things like that. So, and our missions managed to sync up quite well.
We were very lucky,
we were quite
I think.
Efficient, I think. But yeah, it'd be interesting to play again, different player counts and things like that.
Yeah.
I think you did suffer slightly from just constantly having to mine.
But that's why I think
mission.
next time we play it 2-player and have two characters each.
Yeah.
Because then it will mean you can vary it. And it'd be nice to explore some different bits of the game. So we didn't touch building or, farming animals at all because we didn't need to. So it'd be nice to have that.
We wouldn't have had the time to. Like, if we had even attempted that, I don't think we would have won because we'd been too caught up elsewhere to be able to achieve the things that we needed. So,
but it's a little. I can see why so many people talk about how much they like it. And if you're put off by it being an IP game, you really shouldn't be. It's just strip off the IP and you've got a really lovely kind of cooperative, firefighting game which has got adorable art. So.
Yeah, no, a good co-op option. Yeah, I like that. And we played Tokaido for the first time in ages, and Takenoko, 2 of our old favourites. So sort of returning, getting some of those games that we've been familiar with but not played in ages back.
And it was nice to play Tokaido with all the bells and whistles. We had the Crossroads expansions in there. And similarly Takenoko, it's familiar and comforting and nice and warm. And
and these again were both digitally, but it was nice to play games that I was sort of comfortable and familiar with when I wasn't feeling tip top. So they were good options for us. But it did mean that we got to sort of return to some of our loved ones.
You've had the opportunity to play a few solo games. I've introduced you to Rove, which you thought would be so much easier than it was. But it was a shock. And similarly,
Food Chain Island I played again. I used to be quite good at that. I think I wasn't well enough to play it at the time that I tried it, and failed epically.
Yeah.
Epically. Yeah.
But they're nice to have those kind of quick button shy games, just to and like so many games we've talked about this month, they're familiar and therefore you don't have the effort of having to learn a game
and button shy games brilliant for me this month because it's an 18 card game, so you can play it on just a tray sat on the sofa. That sort of comfort was great.
Yeah, so despite the limitations this month, we still have got through quite a lot and quite a varied selection of board games this month.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to May because I hope that we'll be getting much more to the table. That would be good. Yeah.
And as we head towards, obviously, UK Games Expo coming up in the not too distant future, we'll be, I imagine, going forward, plundering the shelves and making sure we played all the games we got in our massive haul last year. So it hasn't got to a year of us having not played them all.
Yeah, I know for a fact there are several on the shelf that have not been played.
So yeah. They're going to be
Whoops.
played.
Yeah.
But what have you played this month? Do let us know in the comments down below. Any favourites or any of the games we've played that pique your interest, do let us know.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you. Of course, as usual, if you've enjoyed this video, please do consider subscribing, commenting as Julian said, ringing the bell for notifications so you get to hear all about our videos coming up. We tend to do 2 or 3 videos a week all about board games.
And as always, thank you so much for watching.
Bye.